Can I ask you something personal? Have you ever felt your hands tremble when opening a jar, or your legs feel weaker when standing up from a chair? Many people over 60 brush this off as just getting old. But as a neurologist who has spent 30 years treating seniors, I want to tell you the truth. These small changes may be the early whispers of muscle atrophy and brain decline. I am not here to frighten you. I am here to give you hope. I have seen patients in their 70s regain strength, walk without fear of falling, and even return to gardening or playing with their grandchildren. The key is understanding what weakens our body and brain and what simple daily choices can bring them back to life. According to the New York Times, more than 12 million older Americans live with a muscle loss so severe that it limits daily activities. But the good news is, with the right guidance, muscle cells can still repair, even after 60. So let me ask you, have you ever ignored those small signals? Night cramps, slower steps, or difficulty carrying groceries? Do you see yourself here? Share your story in the comments. Type 1 if you have noticed these signs, or 0 if you have not. I read every comment because your story matters. If this resonates with you, please subscribe and ring the bell so we don't lose touch. Because protecting your brain and muscles is not just science. It is the first act of self-care. Number 2, the healthy habit that backfires. Raw garlic on an empty stomach. For many older adults, raw garlic feels like a secret weapon. You hear friends say, eat 2 cloves first thing in the morning, and it will clean your blood. It sounds natural, powerful, and simple. But in my 3 decades as a neurologist, I have seen this habit send people not toward health, but straight into the emergency room. Here is the problem. Garlic's healing compounds, especially allicin, are also highly irritating. When your stomach is empty, there is no protective food to buffer those strong chemicals. The result can be painful heartburn, gastritis, or even bleeding ulcers. A study reported by the Washington Post found that nearly 40% of adults with stomach ulcers who consumed raw garlic on an empty stomach experienced dangerous flare-ups, some requiring hospitalization. I will never forget one patient, a 70-year-old woman who believed garlic was boosting her immunity. Every morning she ate 3 raw cloves before breakfast. For weeks she ignored the burning in her stomach, telling herself it was a sign the garlic was working. One day she collapsed with severe abdominal pain and vomiting blood. The garlic had irritated her ulcer so badly that it caused a perforation. She needed emergency surgery. This is not to say garlic itself is bad. It remains one of the most powerful natural protectors we have. But the way you use it makes all the difference. If you enjoy garlic, pair it with food. Add it to a cooked meal where healthy fats, proteins, and fibers can reduce irritation. Lightly sautéed garlic still retains many of its benefits, but is far gentler on the digestive system. For people who cannot tolerate raw garlic at all, aged garlic extract offers a safer alternative with compounds that support the heart and brain without burning the stomach. So let me ask you, have you ever tried eating garlic on an empty stomach? Did it leave you feeling energized or uncomfortable? Share your story in the comments. Your experience could save someone else from making the same mistake. Remember this, garlic is medicine, but even medicine must be taken in the right way. When you respect its power, it will protect you. When you misuse it, it can quietly harm you. And this is just the beginning, because the next mistake is one I see every week in my practice, when garlic collides with diabetes medication. Stay with me, because that mistake has put more than a few patients in the hospital overnight. Number 3, when natural meets medical, garlic and diabetes medications. Diabetes is one of the most common conditions I see in my practice, and it affects millions of older adults across the United States. Many of my patients take medications like metformin or insulin every single day. At the same time, they also look for natural remedies to support their health. Garlic is often at the top of that list. Friends, relatives, and even articles online call it a miracle for lowering blood sugar. But here's the truth few people realize. When garlic meets diabetes medication, the results can be dangerous. Garlic naturally lowers blood sugar by increasing insulin sensitivity and helping your cells absorb more glucose. That sounds helpful. But imagine adding this effect on top of your prescribed medication. It is like pressing down on the gas and the brake pedal at the same time. Your medication lowers your blood sugar, and garlic pushes it even lower, sometimes to dangerous levels. The Chicago Tribune once reported on a clinical study in India that followed more than 100 adults with type 2 diabetes who combined garlic supplements with their medication. Nearly one-third of them experienced hypoglycemia, blood sugar so low that they felt dizzy, confused, and in some cases lost consciousness. 9 of those patients had to be rushed to the hospital. I recall a case from my practice. A man in his late 60s came in after his wife found him unresponsive in bed. He had started eating 4 raw cloves of garlic every evening, believing it would double the effect of his metformin. Instead, it nearly cost him his life. His blood sugar had dropped to 38 milligrams per deciliter, a level that can cause seizures or coma if not treated immediately. Thankfully, he survived with the urgent care. Stories like his remind us of an important lesson. Natural does not always mean safe when mixed with prescription drugs. Garlic is powerful, and that means it must be respected. If you live with diabetes, this does not mean you need to avoid garlic completely, but it does mean you must be careful. Eating garlic with meals instead of on an empty stomach can slow absorption and reduce risk. Start small, 1 clove a day, and monitor your glucose closely for at least 2 weeks before increasing. Most importantly, talk with your doctor. Adjustments to your medication may allow you to enjoy garlic's benefits without risking your safety. Cooking garlic is another option. Heat reduces the level of allicin, the compound that lowers blood sugar, while still keeping many of garlic's protective antioxidants. A simple roasted clove on whole grain bread is far safer than chewing 3 raw cloves before bed. So I want to ask you, have you ever noticed your blood sugar dropping unexpectedly after eating garlic? Did you connect the two? Share your experience in the comments below. Someone else living with diabetes might need to hear your story today. Remember this, garlic can be a friend to your health, but when combined with powerful medications, it can turn into an uninvited enemy. Respecting the balance between natural remedies and modern medicine is the smartest way to protect both your body and your brain. And as serious as this mistake is, the next one may be even more surprising because it hides in plain sight, waiting for the moment you need surgery. Number 4, the silent time bomb. Eating garlic before surgery. I want to share with you a scenario that happens more often than you might think. Imagine walking into the hospital for what should be a simple procedure, maybe a gallbladder surgery, a hip replacement, or even just dental work. You feel calm because the doctors have told you it is routine. But during the procedure, something unexpected happens. The surgeons cannot stop the bleeding. They try everything, but your blood refuses to clot. Hours later, when your family is waiting anxiously outside, the doctors finally discover the hidden culprit. Garlic. Yes, garlic. Something as ordinary as the bread you ate the night before, or the supplement you took every day because you believed it was helping your heart. Garlic has natural blood-thinning effects. It prevents platelets from clumping together, which normally protects you from clots and strokes. That sounds positive, right? But before surgery, this same effect becomes a silent time bomb. The New England Journal of Medicine reviewed thousands of surgical cases and found that patients who consumed garlic regularly in the week before surgery had significantly higher risks of uncontrolled bleeding. For those eating more than 2 cloves a day, their beakening time could be extended by as much as 250%. That means what should be a simple incision might bleed far longer and far more heavily than expected. I once cared for a patient who illustrates this perfectly. She was scheduled for a routine dental extraction. She had normal blood tests, no signs of clotting problems. Yet during the procedure, her bleeding would not stop. The dentist was puzzled. Later, we learned she had been taking concentrated garlic supplements, equal to eating 15 cloves a day. To her, it was a harmless health boost. To her doctors, it was a dangerous surprise that nearly caused her to lose far more blood than her body could handle. This is why surgeons and anesthesiologists now recommend stopping garlic at least 7 to 10 days before any planned procedure. That includes not just big operations, but even small things like colonoscopies, biopsies, or dental work. Garlic's blood-thinning effect can linger in your body for days. If you have an emergency procedure and you've eaten garlic recently, always tell your doctors. It could save your life. Now let me ask you directly. Have you ever been scheduled for surgery and wondered what you should or should not eat beforehand? Did anyone ever warn you about garlic? Share your experiences in the comments below. Perhaps you had a smooth recovery, or maybe you faced unexpected complications. Your story might help another person prepare more safely for their procedure. I want you to hear this from me, not as a warning meant to frighten you, but as a gentle reminder. Your body is wise, but it needs your cooperation. Garlic is powerful medicine, and like all medicine, timing matters. Using it the wrong way, at the wrong time, can turn a routine medical event into an emergency. You are not alone in this journey. Thousands of seniors across the country are learning how to balance natural remedies with modern care. Together, by sharing our stories and listening to one another, we can protect both body and brain. Protect your brain before it needs saving. And as we move forward, I will show you another everyday mistake with garlic that begins not at the hospital, but right in your kitchen. Number 5, the kitchen storage mistake that creates poison. Let's step away from the hospital for a moment and walk back into the kitchen, the place where most of us first learned to trust garlic as food and medicine. You chop it, you stir it into sauces. Maybe you even make your garlic oil because you've heard it's flavorful and healthy. But here's what very few people know. Storing garlic the wrong way can quietly create one of the most dangerous toxins known to medicine. When raw garlic is chopped and placed in oil at room temperature, it creates the perfect breeding ground for Clostridium botulinum. This is the bacterium that causes botulism, a rare but life-threatening illness. Unlike spoiled milk or rotten fruit, botulism does not smell bad or taste strange. The oil looks fine, it smells fine, and when you dip your bread into it, you have no warning that the poison is there. Yet inside that oil, bacteria can produce a toxin 400 times more powerful than cyanide. The Journal of Food Protection reviewed dozens of cases of foodborne botulism linked to homemade garlic and oil mixtures. In many of those cases, the garlic had been stored at room temperature for only 2 days. Victims developed blurred vision, slurred speech, and muscle weakness. Within 24 hours, the paralysis spread downward through their body, even threatening their ability to breathe. Some needed mechanical ventilation for weeks. For older adults, whose lungs and muscles are already more vulnerable, the risk of death is especially high. I remember a couple in their late 60s who came to my clinic after recovering from a frightening episode of foodborne illness. They had been making their garlic oil for years, leaving jars of it on the kitchen counter. One evening, they both experienced double vision and difficulty swallowing. Thankfully, they sought help quickly and were treated in time. When I explained that their homemade oil was the source, they were shocked. "We thought we were doing something healthy," they told me. "We had no idea it could be deadly." So what should you do if you enjoy garlic oil? The answer is simple. Safety depends on temperature and acidity. Always keep garlic and oil mixtures refrigerated and use them within 1 week. Cold slows the growth of bacteria dramatically. Adding lemon juice or vinegar lowers the pH and creates an acidic environment where botulism cannot thrive. Or better yet, roast garlic cloves in olive oil at a gentle heat, then store the mixture in the refrigerator. This method enhances flavor while reducing risk. Now let me pause and ask you something. Have you ever made your garlic oil at home? Did you keep it on the counter because you thought refrigeration wasn't necessary? If so, please share your experience in the comments. Your story may save another viewer from repeating the same mistake. This is not about giving up garlic or living in fear of food. It is about respect. Garlic is a powerful ally when treated with care, but when ignored or mishandled, it can quietly become a hidden poison in your kitchen. Protecting your brain and body begins with small, simple choices, like how you store the food you love. And as dangerous as storage mistakes can be, they are nothing compared to the next issue, the myth that more is better. That belief has sent more than a few people to the emergency room, and it is where we turn next. Number 6, the more is better myth. Overdosing on garlic. In today's world of wellness trends, it is easy to believe that if a little bit of something is good, then more must be better. Garlic has become one of those foods caught up in this thinking. On social media, you can find videos of people swallowing entire bulbs of raw garlic for detox or eating 20 cloves a day to boost immunity. The problem is your body does not work that way. As a neurologist with 3 decades of experience, I can tell you that overloading on garlic is not a shortcut to health. It is a path to serious harm. Garlic's most famous compound, allicin, is powerful in small amounts. It can support heart health, improve circulation, and even offer protection against certain infections. But in large doses, allicin becomes an irritant and even a toxin. When you flood your system with too much raw garlic, you can damage the lining of your esophagus and stomach, leading to painful chemical burns. The Stanford University Medical Center documented more than 60 cases in 2 years of patients suffering from garlic toxicity. Some arrived at the hospital with severe anemia, others with burned throats so painful they could no longer swallow solid food. I remember one patient in particular, a woman in her late 20s who wanted to inspire her followers online by eating 25 raw cloves of garlic every day. After just 1 week, she collapsed at the gym. Her hemoglobin, a measure of healthy red blood cells, had dropped to dangerously low levels, almost 1/3 of normal. She spent 5 days in intensive care and needed several blood transfusions. That is not the picture of health she expected. This is not just about young people chasing trends. I have seen older adults do the same, believing that taking 10 cloves a day would protect them from the flu or strengthen their hearts. Instead, they ended up with ulcers, severe digestive pain, and weakness from blood loss. For someone already vulnerable with age, these complications can quickly become life-threatening. So what is safe? Most research points to a limit of 1 to 2 raw cloves of garlic per day for adults, ideally eaten with meals. Cooked garlic is gentler and can be enjoyed more freely, though even then, moderation matters. Supplements too must be taken with caution. Many are concentrated and can deliver the equivalent of 10 or 15 cloves in a single capsule. Now let me ask you directly, have you ever thought, if 1 clove helps me, then 4 or 5 must help even more? Have you ever pushed yourself to eat garlic in uncomfortable amounts because you hope for faster results? Share your story in the comments. Others may learn from your honesty and avoid making the same mistake. Remember, garlic is like medicine. The right dose heals, but the wrong dose harms. Respecting that balance is not weakness. It is wisdom. And as damaging as overdose can be, the most dangerous mistake still lies ahead. Combining garlic with powerful blood-thinning medications. That mistake has cost lives, and it is where we must go next. Number 7, the deadliest combination. Garlic and blood thinners. If you take blood-thinning medications such as warfarin, clopidogrel, or the newer drugs like apixaban, this section is especially important for you. Garlic is often praised for its ability to improve circulation and protect the heart. But when combined with prescription blood thinners, it can become one of the most dangerous interactions I have ever seen in my 30 years of medical practice. Here is why. Garlic naturally reduces the ability of platelets to stick together. This is how it lowers the risk of clots. Blood-thinning medications work similarly, but much more powerfully. When you combine the two, the effects are not just doubled. They can multiply. Instead of protecting you, this combination can make your blood so thin that even a small bump against a table or a minor fall could trigger uncontrolled bleeding. The American Journal of Hematology published a review of more than 300 cases of major bleeding events in patients taking both garlic and anticoagulant drugs. Over 70 of those patients suffered brain hemorrhages, and 1/3 of them did not survive. Think about that for a moment. These were not car accidents or major traumas. These were preventable tragedies caused by something as ordinary as mixing garlic supplements with medication. I will never forget a patient I treated at Mass General Hospital. He was a 62-year-old man taking warfarin for atrial fibrillation. Without telling his doctor, he began taking high-dose garlic pills, thinking they would help his cholesterol. Within 2 weeks, his blood clotting level, what we measure as INR, had skyrocketed to a dangerously high number. One night, he developed a spontaneous brain bleed while sleeping. His family rushed him to the hospital, but despite every effort, he passed away before surgery could save him. His wife's words still echo in my memory. We thought it was just garlic. We never imagined it could kill him. I share this not to frighten you, but to emphasize the seriousness of this interaction. If you are on any kind of blood thinner, avoid concentrated garlic supplements completely. Small amounts of garlic used in cooking are generally safe, but even then, consistency is key. Do not eat heavy amounts one day and none the next, as these sudden changes can make your medication levels unpredictable. And most importantly, always tell your doctor about your garlic use. Full honesty could save your life. Now let me turn this back to you. Do you take blood thinners for your heart or circulation? Has your doctor ever warned you about garlic? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story may help another viewer realize a danger they never considered. Garlic is powerful medicine, but like all medicine, it must be used wisely. Respecting the balance between natural remedies and prescription drugs is not just smart, it is life-saving. And as dangerous as this mistake is, there is still one more chapter we need to explore. How to finally use garlic most safely and beneficially for both your body and your brain. That will be our closing step. Number 8, the safe path. How to use garlic for brain and body health. After everything we have discussed, the storage mistakes, the hidden interactions, the risks of eating too much, it is easy to feel nervous about garlic. But I want to remind you of something important. Garlic is not your enemy. When used wisely, it can be one of the most powerful allies for your heart, your muscles, and your brain. The key is not avoidance, but respect. Think of garlic the way you would think of medicine. The right dose heals, the wrong dose harms. So what does safe and effective use of garlic look like? Science has given us a clear roadmap. When garlic is crushed or chopped, an enzyme reaction begins. This reaction creates allicin, the compound responsible for most of garlic's benefits. But here's the part most people miss. You need to let the garlic sit for about 10 minutes before cooking it. According to a study from Penn State University, waiting this short time allows nearly 20 times more lecithin to form compared to using garlic immediately. That means more protective power for your blood vessels and your memory. Cooking matters too. Raw garlic delivers the strongest punch, but it can irritate the stomach. On the other hand, cooking garlic gently around 140 degrees Fahrenheit for no more than 15 minutes preserves most of its beneficial compounds while making it much easier to tolerate. Roasted garlic, sautéed garlic, or garlic stirred into soup can give you flavor and protection without the painful side effects. Timing is another piece of the puzzle. Garlic works best when taken with your largest meal of the day, especially if that meal includes healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, or avocado. Fat helps your body absorb garlic's fat-soluble compounds more efficiently, boosting its benefits by almost 50%. Think of spreading crushed garlic on whole grain bread with a drizzle of olive oil. That combination not only tastes delicious, but also protects your cardiovascular and brain health. If raw or cooked garlic does not agree with you, there are alternatives. Aged garlic extract, created by fermenting garlic over many months, transforms harsh compounds into gentler ones. Multiple studies show that 600 milligrams of aged garlic extract daily can lower blood pressure and support brain health without causing stomach irritation. Black garlic, another pure form produced through fermentation, is rich in antioxidants and has a sweeter taste, making it easier to enjoy. Now let me ask you, what is your favorite way to use garlic? Raw, cooked, or perhaps in a supplement form? Share your habits in the comments below. I read them carefully because your story may help another viewer find a safe and enjoyable way to include garlic in their own life. Remember, garlic is not about extremes. You do not need to eat whole bulbs, nor do you need to avoid it entirely. Respect the right dose. 1 to 2 cloves daily with food prepared properly. That is enough to deliver real benefits without unnecessary risks. Protect your brain before it needs saving, and let garlic, when used wisely, be one of your daily shields. And now that we have seen the safe path, let's take a step further. In the next part, I will uncover what science really says about garlic and brain health, separating the myths from the truth. Number 10, living wisely with garlic, a doctor's closing message. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to pause and take a deep breath. We have uncovered the double-edged nature of garlic, a food so powerful that it can lower blood pressure, protect memory, and strengthen the heart, but also so strong that, when misused, it can cause harm. Garlic is not good or bad on its own. It is how you use it that makes the difference. Over my 30 years of practice as a neurologist, I have learned that small choices often have the greatest impact. For my patients, the decision to store garlic properly, to eat just 1 clove instead of 5, or to tell their doctor about their supplement use has meant the difference between illness and health, between fear and confidence. These small steps may not feel dramatic, but they create lasting protection for the brain, the muscles, and the heart. I know that many of you watching may feel overwhelmed. Perhaps you have eaten garlic the wrong way for years. Perhaps you are realizing for the first time that your daily routine might be adding risk instead of removing it. Please hear me clearly. It is never too late to change. The human body is remarkably resilient. With the right adjustments, safer storage, balanced doses, combining garlic with nourishing meals, you can begin to reverse damage and reclaim strength. I have seen patients in their 70s and 80s make these changes and thrive. One woman told me that after learning to prepare garlic more gently, she not only felt better physically, but also found joy again in cooking with her grandchildren. That is the kind of healing that extends beyond the body. It heals families and memories too. So let me encourage you, protect your brain before it needs saving. Respect garlic for the medicine it is, and let it serve you, not sabotage you. You have the power to make this shift, and every meal can be a chance to practice self-care. Before we finish, I would love to hear from you. How do you feel after hearing these truths? Did something surprise you or remind you of your own experiences? Take a moment to reflect and then share your story in the comments. Comments. Your voice matters, and your reflection might guide another person toward a safer, healthier choice. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to our channel, ring the bell, and share this video with a friend or family member who may also need to hear it. Healthy living is easier when we walk together. And if you are ready to go deeper, I invite you to watch our next video. These common foods quietly damage your brain, say researchers. In it, we will uncover everyday items in your pantry that could be silently eroding your memory and focus. And more importantly, what you can do to protect yourself starting tomorrow morning. Stay hopeful, stay engaged, and remember, it is never too late to begin living wisely.